Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. I am Cindy Ola here at Sacred Garden Yoga, coming to you with some everyday practical magic, especially since we're still in the midst of this October season where magic is in the air. I'm in the front space of the yoga studio where we actually sell some of our items that are used for ritual and ceremony. I'm going to start by talking about maybe the not so fun stuff, but it's the ever so important things that clear and align your energy, because if your energy is all fragmented and you're all over the place, you can do as much ritual ceremony as you want and it's not going to necessarily work for you because your energy isn't focused. Which it brings me to yoga. As you know, we teach yoga here, and the reason I was attracted to the practice of yoga, I've been teaching, well, I've had this studio for going on 18 years now, but what attracted me to this practice is the mind, the body, and the heart or the spirit, the soul connection. Yoga teaches us through especially through the teachings of Patanjali, that we are using the practice so that we can train our body and our minds to be the vessel or the servant to the higher part of us called the Purusha. It is the part of you that sees and understands clearly. It's your wisest, again, most highest self. Most of us, we grow up turned around where we become servants of our mind and of our emotions and of our body. And we end up feeling like we're constantly in this roller coaster ride because our minds and our emotions are all over the place. Okay, so the practice of yoga helps to refine your thinking, and it refines your body, gets your body so that it can be the sacred vessel that it's designed to be, to hold and to move energy the way that you want to do it. Okay, so without that piece of just clearing your mind and getting your body agile, healthy, and strong, we become distracted. And you know how that is. If you've ever been sick, not feeling well, or if something just, terrible happened and, let's just say someone passed away or something like that, so your mind is very distracted, or your body feels sick, it's hard to think about anything else. You don't have the energy to go in and try to master and manifest things, right? And of course, we're going to ebb and flow through those seasons in our lives. But for the most part, we want to feel like ourselves and like we can transition through those dark seasons in our life without feeling like we get stuck in them. And magic can help you with that as well. Okay, so the first piece of advice that I would give you is hone your mind, hone your body so that you become a better vessel for the energy to move through you. All right. Then the second part is, developing your intuitive skills. I teach courses here in the intuitive arts. I'm an energy practitioner. I've been one of those for about the same amount of time that I've been teaching and practicing yoga. I've been honing and developing my own intuitive skills for a really long time now, and my personal skills are more in the knowing and in the feeling realm. So I'm a knower and I'm a feeler, and I can really get in touch with bodies, with people's bodies. The body is like an Akashic record, and it holds all the information that you've ever experienced within this lifetime and other lifetimes. So I'm just particularly good at being able to go into the body, especially reaching into the places that are hidden and unseen, so that we can bring all that up to the surface for integration and healing and more magic making. When you're developing your intuitive skills and your particular art, it's good to know how it comes through you, whether it's coming through as a seer, as a healer, as a knower, Or do you feel drawn to the shamanic arts or to the pagan arts, or are you drawn to something else? I don't know, but to master how your intuition comes through you so that you can use that when you're in ritual and ceremony. Okay, so these are just a couple of things that you can continue to work on with it yourself to give what you do more potency. The next thing I want to talk about is the foundations for the law of attraction and how magic moves through you. It must move through you in order to manifest. It's not one of those things where you do a spell or you do a ritual or ceremony and the Santa Claus being brings it to you. Magic works in how well you can hold the frequency and emotion and thought of what you're wanting to manifest into your life. And when you bring that emotional frequency and thought into the ceremony itself, that's what acts as a catalyst to set your magic into motion. The cool thing is there's also some science to back this up, and whenever magic and science emerges, it makes me really happy because I'm also a science nerd. I studied it in college. There's this thing called Neurobics, and it's based on the scientific premise that unusual stimuli helps to create new thought patterns in the brain. By marrying a physical gesture or movement with a new thought pattern and emotion, science actually shows that this is one of the fastest ways to create new thought patterns within your brain. How cool is that? Where there is actual science to show that by lighting that candle or burning that piece of paper along with holding a strong thought and emotion actually helps to create something physiologically in the brain to bring that thing into motion. So that's something to think about as well. I find that rather exciting. The next thing is that it's important for your will to be united. In other words, your conscious and your subconscious mind acting together to bring this thing into manifestation. In other words, if there is a part of you that secretly really doesn't want more abundance, let's say, doesn't want health and wealth and good relationships, then that part of you is going to come in and create some problems. It's going to try to self-sabotage. One of the first things that you might notice once you perform your ritual and ceremony is that it's going to require you to take some action. Whether that action is in looking at yourself, doing your internal work so that you're not creating this self-sabotage and this karmic loop. It's also going to require you to take other action steps, so you'll need to listen closely to the messages that you're receiving on what you need to do next. The universe will rearrange itself to help you bring about your creation, especially those creations that you put your will, your heart, your intent, and your feelings into. The universe will rearrange itself, but you also have to be willing to rearrange yourself so that you align to attracting that thing into your life. Does that make sense? So it's a combination of working with ritual and magic and ceremony, as well as taking the appropriate action. One of my favorite quotes, I think it's by Muji, he says that God will give you bread, but he's not going to make you toast. You got to make the toast yourself. The practice of the ritual and ceremony, it acts as a catalyst for your manifestation, and it truly does work. Plus, it helps you to get really clear on what you want. With that in mind, everyday magic can be applied to almost anything that you do. The way that you cook dinner, the energy that you're holding while you cook dinner, the herbs that you add depending on what your intuition is saying to you based off the kind of flavors that you want to bring out through your meal. It could be when you're outside, perhaps having a glass of wine or even a glass of juice, and you pour a little bit of that wine or juice onto the earth, holding the intention of just pure gratitude for the support that the earth is constantly giving you. That just creates more of that essence of gratitude and abundance. It's could be the way that you take a walk through the woods, paying attention, making each step very intentional, connecting with the forces of nature, establishing those relationships. Again, thanking them for supporting you, and holding the energy and the vibration and the emotion of what you're wanting to create more of in your life. So this idea of everyday magic can be applied to anything that you do. Then bringing it into an actual, true ritual and ceremony. I'll give you an example here with some sweet little candle magic. Now, you've been, whether you know it or not, you've been practicing candle magic since you were at least 1 year old. The first time you blew out a candle from that birthday cake. I mean, think about what you're asked to do. You light the candle. You make a wish. In other words, you set an intention and then you blow it out so that you send it out to the powers that be to bring that wish to you. That is totally pagan, okay? So you've been practicing this stuff without even knowing it since you were a young child. So anyways, bringing it back to the way that you can practice it in a simple ritual. This is a ritual candle, and you can see that it's smaller than a normal one. The reason is when you are burning them, you do usually want them to burn all the way down, so they need to be small enough for you to hold the time to do that. You can also have some kind of something that you can scribe into your candle. So let's say you're working on, let's just say abundance, because hey, who couldn't use more abundance and prosperity? You would create sacred space around you. And this could be by calling in the directions, saying prayers, chanting mantras, lighting some incense, setting up an altar, bringing in some crystals and stones. In other words, being very intentional about the space that you create, because you're opening up your energy and you're opening up your space for other beings of light to come in, and you want to make sure that the beings of light that come in are the highest beings of light, and that nothing nefarious is coming through. All right, so creating sacred space. Then just the being intentional, really think about what it is and feel, like really not just think about, but feel what it is that you want, because remember that magic has to come through you. It's not you begging out to some Santa Claus out there and then expecting that to bring you what you want. Your magic moves through the vessel of your mind, your body, your emotions, your heart. Hold the energy of what you're wanting to feel and what you're wanting to manifest. So align your thoughts and emotions, okay? And then you bring in the sacred act, and this is where that whole neurobics come in. While you're holding this new idea and this thought pattern and feeling, inscribe. It can be a symbol or it can be a word. It could be abundance. It could be prosperity. It could be lots of words. Just start to inscribe it, like write it. In other words, scribe it into the candle. And once you complete that, you will light the candle. When you do this ritual, that is up to you. Some people like to do them around the moon. The moon energy is good to ask also what parts of you are hidden and where are you holding yourself back from bringing these manifestations to life. If some deities, if you're not certain of what ascended masters or deities or elemental forces to call in, of course you can always call in the elements themselves, and you do it automatically when you're lighting a candle, because you know that you're at least going to be bringing in the element of fire, and the fire is the actual element of alchemy. And think of it as the alchemy of turning lead into gold. You need fire to do that. Okay, so that's just one of the attributes of the element of fire. You can also align and connect with the planetary influences if you prefer to keep it more with the forces of nature, learning about what each planet means and how each planet is also a reflection of you. Remember this: as above, so below. So let's say, for instance, you're working on abundance and expansion and generosity. Jupiter would be the planet to work that with. The Jupiter's day is Thursday, so doing your ritual on a Thursday on Jupiter's day might be a good way to align with the Jupiter energy. Think about what Jupiter energy holds. That might be something that you want to look into with astrology, like the astrological influences of Jupiter as well. How he is the biggest planet, and that it is, the planet astrologically having to do with generosity and expansion and wealth and those kind of things. Okay, so you can do your ritual on a Thursday, connecting with the energy of Jupiter, bringing in the feeling and sensation, holding it into your body, scribing that onto the candle, lighting a candle. Again, that's the neurobics. That's it, bringing it into your brain, this new thought, new idea, new frequency into your brain to help to create the new thought patterns that's going to help you as well. You light the candle, let it burn all the way down so that it's taken, the energy is taken by spirit, by the universe, so that the universe will help you in the manifesting of your highest and your truest desires. So that is an example of an actual candle ritual that you can do. So if this little ritual resonated with you, give it a try, and take note afterwards too to see how the universe will rearrange itself to bring forth this manifestation or this desire of yours. It's pretty cool. Well, that's all I have for you today. As always, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Big love and magic to you all.